It's a well-known fact that cash flow is the main reason why most businesses fail, and 2023 is proving to be one of the most difficult times ever to be a small business owner. Business insolvencies are rapidly increasing and county court judgments have doubled. And both of these are significant warning signs that businesses are in distress. And if we take a look at the top 10 industries thought to be most impacted, we can see that it is so wide-ranging and no business is immune to the difficult times of 2023. So now is the right time to give your business a cash flow MOT and implement these 6 tips right away to maximise your cash flow to protect the future of your small business. So let's kick off with number 1 and the most obvious of all tips, but I'm really surprised still how frequently I come across businesses that are just not doing a cash flow forecast. You must know your numbers and understand exactly how much cash you need in your business in the coming weeks and months. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just create a spreadsheet and jot down all of the money that you know you've got coming into the business versus what's going out. And how far out you forecast depends on where you are with your business and how frequently it's changing. If your business is quite static, then forecasting for the next 4 to 12 weeks is probably suitable. But if you're going through a period of change or growth, then forecasting over a much longer period, I would recommend 12 months. I review my cash flow forecast every Monday morning with my team as part of our kickoff. But if you're going through cash flow issues, then I would suggest that you're on it every single day. Now, the second tip that I've got to improve your cash flow is a little known VAT scheme called the cash accounting scheme. Now, when you register for VAT, you automatically get entered into the standard VAT scheme. And this means that you pay VAT over to HMRC based on the day that you raise your invoice usually. Now, if you're offering credit terms to your customers, that can mean that you're having to pay VAT over to HMRC before your customer has even paid you, which is just bonkers. And what you can do instead is sign up to the cash accounting scheme, which means you only pay the VAT over once your customer has paid you. Now, this can literally put tens of thousands of pounds of cash back into your business. So if you're not on the cash accounting scheme already, make sure you speak to your accountant, get signed up to it ASAP if your turnover is less than 1.35 million. And my third tip is to maximise trade credit or credit from your suppliers. It's very easy to get some quick wins here and it costs you absolutely nothing. It is a completely free source of finance. Now, it's always best practice to ask for payment terms whenever you're working with a supplier. So if you've got suppliers that you're paying up front, contact them immediately and ask to switch over to a credit account. And try to avoid, where possible, signing up to direct debits because you're just simply not in control of when the money is leaving your bank. But the most impactful tip that I can give you with trade credit is to pay your suppliers late. Now, this does come with some caveats and you do need to apply some judgment to this. You can't just be going and paying your suppliers 30, 40, 50 days late because you'll wind them up, they will not want to work with you and they may even withdraw your credit facility. But paying your invoices a few days late every month could be the difference to get you over a very specific cash flow hole that you may have at specific times of the month, such as around payroll. Personally, I take at least an extra 5 days on every invoice that's given to me, and nobody has ever called me chasing that debt. As long as you are consistent and you get into a pattern of paying on the same day of every month, such as the 5th rather than the last day, then your suppliers are likely to accept this and they will still see that you are reliable and consistent with your payments. And that's normally the key thing that suppliers are looking for. So we've just had a look at paying your suppliers, but let's now take a look at how your customers are paying you. Number 4 is to implement really solid credit control features in your business so that you can collect cash from your customers as quickly as possible. So I'm always really surprised when I get an invoice and the supplier has given me terms unnecessarily. And are you doing that potentially with your customers, where your customers aren't even asking for extra days to pay, but you're just naturally giving it to them on every invoice? So where possible, always get your customers to pay up front. Make sure that you can take card payment and online payment with things like PayPal, as more customers will be happy to pay you up front the more functionality that you have. And if you do have to give credit to your customers, make sure that your customer is really crystal clear on the payment terms that you've provided and make sure that the due date is on every invoice that you issue. But don't miss this step, because this literally could be game changing in your business in terms of cash flow. And that is to contact your customers before the invoice becomes due. You want to be giving your customers a courtesy call to make sure that they've got the invoice, there's no queries on it, and see if they can provide you with a payment date. By doing this, you will be aware of any issues that will prevent that invoice being paid as soon as possible, which means that you can resolve them before the invoice even becomes due. If you implement this in your business, you should dramatically reduce the time that it takes your customers to pay you and the number of invoices that you have overdue. So my fifth tip is aimed at any businesses that do hold stock. So if you do hold stock, I can almost guarantee that there's opportunities to improve your cash flow by managing your stock levels more effectively. You need to be analysing statistics like stock turn data against lead times and intelligently deciding when you reorder from your suppliers and how much stock you hold in your business. It can be really tempting to bulk order from suppliers to get an additional discount, but you must always make sure that your business can support this from a cash flow perspective, because it's no point making an extra few points on margin if this causes you significant cash flow issues that could ultimately mean that your business goes under. You may want to consider a warehouse management system or WMS that can really help analyse your stock, sales and purchasing information and provide you with some really intelligent features. And my final tip is to always lease or rent and spread payments over months rather than paying up front when you've got big purchases to make. So for anything with a significant outlay such as office equipment, computers, machinery, cars, always get them on leasing or rental contracts. Now, often when you do the sums, you'll see that renting or leasing is more expensive than buying up front. So it can be really tempting to go with the cheaper option. But if buying up front causes a cash flow issue further down the road that you then have to go and get external finance for, you will be paying interest. And often the interest works out more expensive than the difference that you calculated in the first place. And by the time you've considered inflation and tax savings, the difference is probably really marginal. So make sure that you let me know in the comments below how you're getting on implementing these tips in your business and the impact that this has had on your cash flow. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on running and growing your business.